to set my background.
Not yet, Professor. They are still on the waiting room. We haven't admitted them.
Okay, sure. You give me, because I found out that the background, the words R2SEP is it was not it was inverted, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I see.
Do you see the inverted? Dia macam dah songsang, ada nampak the word.
Let me. Please
But
wait.
it's okay. I think it should be okay, right? Yeah.
Mbak Devi, what time are we gonna start?
Okay, I think we can start now. Yes.
Because
Okay.
if we still got time, I think we can try to make virtual background.
Yeah.
Is it okay if you give me another 5 minutes?
Okay, sure.
Or we can also play the video while waiting. How about that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I do the background again and see if I can do something.
Okay, I will start to admit the participants. Is it okay?
Yeah, sure.
Do you ever wonder what makes a life-changing history? Right, a solid mission of the visionaries. It was Dr. Anka and his colleagues' mission to accelerate technology development. Through the establishment of Institute Technology 10 November, their goodwill has encouraged ITS students to take important roles in both local and global communities. Ministers, CEOs, professors, entrepreneurs, and yes, another history maker. These successful alumni were trained in a healthy learning environment that was equipped with various supporting facilities. From vocations to marine technology, all faculties and departments of ITS were formed to be the best place to learn science, technology, and design. 7 faculties and 1 interdisciplinary school. Scientix, Faculty of Science and Data Analytics. MarTech, Faculty of Marine Technology. INSYS, Faculty of Industrial Technology and Systems Engineering. Electex, Faculty of Intelligent Electrical and Informatics Technology. CivPlan, Faculty of Civil, Planning, and Geoengineering.
I think that's the best I can do. But slowly, I think we can start.
Faculty of Creative Design and Digital Business. Vocation, Faculty of Vocation. And Interdisciplinary School of Management and Technology.
Sorry.
Recognize
time,
top best ranked institutes doesn't mean the finish line for ITS.
come back again.
Greater international recognition. ITS launched International Graduate Program. Students can get wider international exposure through 20 study programs they can apply. The chances are also open for professors from all over the world to teach and conduct research at ITS. These opportunities have made international joint research and other international activities successfully performed. Like IUP, students and lecturers from other programs have also contributed to the ITS achievements. Appreciations
I think I want to get into
Technology and academic excellence is not the only goal of the Institute. Students are guided to apply their knowledge for the welfare of society.
voice is okay, right?
Because to note a new life-changing history, technology must advance humanity. ITS, Institute Technology, 10 November.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining our first event of Researcher and Research Student Enrichment Program this semester. And welcome to ITS to all of you, because I know that you are all new students here, but some of them are familiar with this program actually. So first, before we start our agenda today, I would like to remind you that please fill the attendance form on the provided link, which will be shared. I think it's shared already in the Zoom chat room by our committee, and the link will be closed in 15 minutes. So please fill the form. And later, please also fill the feedback form, which will be shared in the Zoom chat 15 minutes before the session ends. And this attendance and feedback is compulsory for these purposes. Mandatory attendance for ITS and master and doctoral students. And as mentioned on the poster before, that you are compulsory to join minimum 5 event of researcher and research enrichment program. And as also I think I got distracted by a questions. Later on, for the question and answer, you can fill also a Q and answer. We will share also the link for Q&A later on while the speaker give their share their session. Okay, so okay. Now, I would like to start with introducing our moderator today. Miss Nastiti Primadyastuti. Miss Nastiti is senior, as a senior staff for international partnership in, or you can say it like in DKG, Directorate Kemitraan Global. So, and also our speaker today is Dr. I'm sorry, Doctor. Our speaker today is Dr. Bonchong Chu, Dr. Chu, we call it. Okay, welcome, Dr. Chu. And once again, I would like to remind you to fill the, okay. I would like to remind you to fill the attendance form. And I will give the time to Miss Nastiti to start the session. Miss Nastiti, time is yours.
Thank you so much, Ms. Devi. Hello, Bapak Ibu. Good afternoon from ITS Surabaya. How are you?
Fine, I'm fine. Fine.
Okay.
Hi.
Nice,
Really good.
nice day.
So I think
Great
it's
day.
not our very first meeting. My name is Nastiti, and I think you have been seeing me in so many places. The first time would be IPITS Pasca, and then because I am also staff for now I manage ITS Writing Center. Probably you will also see me at Academic Writing Center, and now I became the moderator for the R2SEP. Very nice meeting you. Okay. Before we start our session, committee, please check if someone is still, if someone's microphone is still on. Thank you very much. Okay, and then, okay, before we start our session, please use the reaction button if you are a postgraduate student of ITS. Please use the reaction button, raise your hand, or okay. If you are PhD or doctoral students of ITS, oh, so many of you. Okay, to give picture for our speaker today, how many are there? More than 50, Professor Chu. Okay, so I'm going to consider that the rest are master students. Please also use the love reaction button if you are international students. I mean students from ITS International Partner. Okay, the number keeps growing. Thank you very much. Now I would like to introduce you to Professor B.C. Chu. That's how we know him, and that's how he brands himself. And good afternoon, Professor Chu.
Good afternoon.
Let me introduce you to our participants today. So Professor Chu is very kind and holds a special heart. Holds a special place in our heart. Why? Because not only he is very much expert at his area, he is a very progressive lecturer, inspiring researcher, but he is also a very good partner, very good friend of ITS, and especially ITS Global Engagement. And I believe that he is the right person to share about today's session. Professor Chu is from University Technical Malaysia Melaka, or UTEM, that's how we call it, the university. He holds PhD in Science and Technology Studies from the University of Edinburgh, and he has been all over the world sharing inspirations and this and that, everything. You can ask almost everything to him. And he is very much special to us because in 2021, during the pandemic, when the time was the worst of all, he still shared his inspirations to everyone by being an adjunct professor at ITS. So I think you can read his very brief profile here, shown at the screen, but you can get to know more about him later in the session. So I'm going to invite Professor Chu.
Okay.
I'm giving the virtual microphone to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So thank you for this introduction, Ms. Nastiti. It's nice to see you again. feel like coming back home.
Welcome back
Actually,
to
I
ITS.
just completed the visiting to Normal University of China. So I did my visiting there. And after that, I come back, and then I would like to say, again, collaborate with ITS for some research sharing. I think I have my students with me today, perhaps, and some of my colleagues as well, because ITS has organized this R2SEP for very successfully. So I would like to say that continue supporting, and thank you for letting my students as my colleagues also joining in. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for saying yes
thank
to our
you.
proposal.
No problem. Thank you. So I would like to open my slide for you all. Can you help me to let me have, because I'd like to share my slide with all of you. Yep.
Yes, Professor, you can start your
Okay.
presentation.
It still say host disabled participants screen
okay.
sharing. Yeah. Okay.
By the way, Professor Chu, while waiting, about the Q&A session, is it okay if somebody then later during the meeting just raise their hand?
Yeah, you can. I think I can, get questions later, or maybe if you want to stop me somewhere, then
Okay.
I can help to clarify some information for sure. So I'd like to share what I have here. So thank you for the host to let me share on my screen. And what I'm going to do is I have my slide, which I already put it here. I think what you can do is I'll tell you later about the location for the slide. Basically, I have uploaded this slide on what do you call the platform called SlideShare. So if let's say like you would like to have a look, I mean, you can always go to Google. So then after that, you can come to Google and then you can type my name, Bisichu. Slide share means that sharing the slide. And then you will come over here. And after that, you will be able to access the slide that I've just uploaded just now. Okay. So everything are here. I hope that is going to be helpful. Right. So thank you for the arrangement, and I shall start my sharing now. So selamat petang semua teman-teman, okay, rakan-rakan semua. Salam sejahtera from Malaysia, University Technical Malaysia Melaka. If you want me to explain your answer later in Bahasa, I will try my best, although I'm not very good at Bahasa Indonesia, but I can understand and I'll try to explain to you all. So today's will be the first sessions for R2SEP, which the title that being carried is Expectation from Being a Postgraduate Student and Life Strategy as a Researcher. So I got this first title. I'm happy to be the first one. I'm happy to share with you from my experience. Okay. So I have found an interesting paper, actually, when I start to prepare myself for this session. And then this paper is basically a paper that has been done by a few researchers. Let me share with you. And they have studies about how are the expectations, okay, from those students who pursuing their postgraduate studies. So I put the link over there for you, and you can have a look later. So this is the expectation. Of course, I know that there are master students here, but I'm trying to find something that relate to the postgraduate studies. So this is the paper about the PhD candidate expectation. So they're looking from the angle of exploring mismatch with experience. And this is the paper that published in 2014 by a few scholars from Australia. And I found out that it's still something quite relevant and also interesting for us to explore. Now, after this, maybe you can have a look later. I have already posted the link for you. Okay. But I'm going to bring you to this part, which is what we call as alignment of expectation of the doctoral task. Okay, so I'll put it here in my slide for you. Okay, so then I'm able to make it here for you. Right. So what I can see from the sharing from this paper is basically they're looking at 3 focuses of the expectation from themselves, okay, as a personal, from the university, and as well as a task that want to continue for their research. I think most of us, when we conduct our postgraduate studies, we always have some of this focus of expectation. So first one would be mismatch, okay? So expected no mismatch. So no mismatch over here. So for example, the task, this is written by the students. I read for you. He said, I have a decent idea of the mechanics of it. I can teach at the university. I felt like after the honors, I have a plenty good idea of what PhD would be like. So some people have very clear idea what PhD is all about, okay, how they want to conduct it, what are the requirements, and so on. And of course, from the university point of view, so they always been warned about the supervisor and ready for that. So your supervisor might be the one who are very structured, very helpful, always will tell you what you need to do for your PhD, what you need to be taking care, okay? And from personal aspect, right? So he would say that he aware that he was feeling doubt and insecure about the progress, okay, whether about the validity of the research, but the experience ups and downs, that would be normal. So I would say that postgraduate studies, either master's or doctorate, or you like to go for courses or you go for research, you always have up and downs. That's normal, okay? So next one would be the mismatch on the negative experience. This is the one that somehow would start to tell you some of the worrying situation. So from the task, he said, the writing is really difficult. I think I expect more of myself. I'm not really sure I knew what to expect. So I didn't expect the rewrites, means that you need to write again and again. I thought I would do it better. I expect it to be flow, to go smooth, but you don't expect it to be so rocky, so challenging, penuh dengan cabaran. Okay, so from the university aspect, handling the supervision has been really difficult for me. That's something I didn't expect. So some of you might find out that the supervision process is difficult. You might have difficulty to see your supervisor frequently, or maybe if you are distant students, during COVID time particularly, so we can't see our supervisors face to face, so that become a challenge for us. So what they say is, I assume to come in to be in really interesting scientific community, but he found out that it's not exist, not interesting at this time at here. So from personal feeling, he say, I really have no life, some of them, no opportunity for any development, no teaching I can do. I know it would be hard, but I think it became so difficult to accommodate within the whole work-life balance. Some of the person start to feel like that, particularly those students who might doing, the master's and also doctorate by part-time. The last one would be the mismatch. So you have positive experience. Okay, so from here, the task would be, I thought it's going to be harder than it was actually turned out to be. So means that you think that it is difficult, but by the end, it is not as difficult as you think. And from the university side, on the side, you get a lot of support, which great, I did not expect. So some of us, we have a lot of support from the faculty, from the departments, or even from the universities. So you're happy with the support that makes sure that you're able to study it through. And from the personal experience, I have got time at work, I'm relaxed, you do not have much stress, and you also wasn't quite expecting. So you do not have much challenges. So those that you are on a positive experience, I would say congratulations. Right? I think, you see, when ITS has arranged such a program, R2SEP, the meaning is also trying to give you support so that you can able to conduct your research easily. And obviously, after this, you're also being exposed by various topics from all professors around the world so that you're able to equip some of the knowledge and instill in yourself. Ya, membantu untuk memperkuatkan diri Anda daripada ilmu-ilmu yang diperolehi. But those that you have negative experience, you realize it's difficult, you realize the supervision process is difficult, you do not have opportunity, you feel stressed, then maybe we need to think, how are we going to make sure that this could be overcome? Macam mana kita mahu menyelesaikannya? So one thing that I would like to give to you for today is, do you know that research skills are important? So because most of us, we completed our undergraduates and we straight away got into master or PhD. Now by course would be easy because they just repeat what has been done by the undergraduates. But if you're getting into a full research scheme, then something you have to get yourself ready. Do you have the experience in doing research? The first question. Do you have experience? Some of you might be during your undergraduate, you have done your thesis, a little bit of research project. That gives you some flavor of doing research. Do you have the ability? Because previously you might working very closely with your supervisor, short period of time, but now you have to work alone. Do you see yourself will be able to grow? As a supervisor, we always want the students to keep on growing, improving from time to time. Do you require any advanced training for yourself? Okay, do you need to have, for example, quantitative, qualitative, simulations, or any kind of software advanced training? Do you have the knowledge? Do you really have the knowledge about the things you want to study? Are you capable to access to the local field work? Can you get into the lab? Do you have enough materials? Next one, are you keep on learning? Now, we always think that we always keep on learning, but we have to always learn, unlearn, and relearn. So when the time we want to learn new things, keep on doing, we keep on learning. But old knowledge, old information, we need to unlearn. Kita perlu buangkannya. Then after that, we need to relearn. It might be this is the time that we have to equip ourselves with more advanced theory, more advanced knowledge about the software operation, and so on. Do you have the competence? Is it writing, academic writing, is good for you or difficult for you? Have you got adequate mastery in terms of language? Do you have the competence to do literature review? So these are also the research skill that you need to think about. And obviously the training, a basic training or advanced training, or do you able to give training to your juniors? Sometimes when we progress from first year to second year, then our supervisor would like us to give some sharing session or training to the juniors. Are we able to have such competence to do training for our colleagues and also our juniors? So expectation from being a postgrad student and life strategy as a researcher, I'll bring you through the entire process. So most of you have taken master by research, doctorate by research, or maybe you have to conduct master or doctorate with coursework. You have to produce an academic research thesis. Am I right? Semua di antara Anda semua perlu menghasilkan satu naskah thesis ataupun disertasi. Yeah, it is true. So from these, you have to work closely with your supervisor or supervisors. And sometimes you might put in a team, then you need to work closely with your team members. So any kind of forms over here, that this journey, sometimes it needs you to be cooperative as a team player, or sometimes you need to have the ability to work your work alone. Okay, so it gives you two different perspectives. Either you need to be team player, or maybe you need to be alone. So you begin with, I believe, many of you. So when you do your dissertation, or you will do a dissertation later, you'll come up with your research ideas. What do you want to do? You have a lot of ideas, and maybe you would think which one would be more suitable for you. The field of your studies engineering, mechanical, civil, or you might be from manufacturing, industrial engineering, or you might from management, social science, or might be from humanities. So all of these define the field of your studies. What are the research problems? What are the problems that you face? What are the current problems that you're interested to resolve? And obviously, it will translate into your research question and also the objective for you to mobilize or operationalize your research. What would be the theoretical foundation and prepositions? Is it the latest theory? Is it the previous theory, old theory that you want to challenge? Or you might would like to utilize the current theory in order to enrich your studies? What would be your research methods? Are you utilizing quantitative, qualitative, experimentation, observation, whatsoever types of research methods that you would like to go for? The data collection, are you seeing people, like social scientists, we see people, we get information, or are you just in a lab, you conduct your experiment, then you're able to get your data? How would you do your data analysis? Are you using any software or you're just using manual? Any of the research outcome that you want to do? Do you want to solve the problem? Do you want to contribute something? So generally, I think all of these will appear in your thesis or in your dissertation, right? So these are the expectations for the students as well as from your supervisor. So your research project is an academic research. Ultimately, the contribution is either you apply the theory in your research or you verify the theory from your research. You want to have something new, you want to conduct new knowledge from your research, or maybe you are thinking, okay, I have found this problem, the industrial got this problem, the material property has this problem. Am I going to give a practical application or solution to resolve the problem? So these would be the scope, okay, for the ultimate contribution from your research that you want to conduct. And obviously, after that, you might need to also think about publication, right? You have to disseminate your work, your finding, your knowledge to the subject you research, to other research firms in your field, or might be to the academic world that has a similar discipline that you're working on. So when you do your publication, you always need to realize that you have to have a proper writing skills. And you also have to take note, yeah? Writing journals, writing articles will be slightly different from writing thesis chapters because the journal has its own format. Your thesis can be up to 50 pages, but I don't think journal can be so thick, begitu tebal, correct? Journal might be 10 or 15 pages maximum. It has its own format of writing. Time to get your article published. How do you deal with the rejections? I think ITS were going to have this R2SEP. One of the slot is how do you dealing with the rejections? How are you going to do the corrections? Yeah, you spend a lot of time writing your article, but people reject you. You feel upset. You feel angry. But bear in mind, there's always an open mind for accepting criticism is important. I myself also got a lot of rejections. It is normal. And of course, academic English writing, the skills and also the grammatical structure will be very different from the speaking. So when you speak and when you write are totally different. So these are some of the skills that you need to always take note in order to making sure that you're able to perform the task on the publication. So the challenges when you want to do your studies, when you want to do your research. So academically, people will always think about how am I going to get a topic? What is the theory that I need to have? Where do I find my materials? What is the method that I need to do? Do I need to have any software to support my data analysis? By academic writing, remember, okay, the thesis and also the journal are different, and also the contribution. I mean, all of these or most of these issues, I think you can get and refer with your supervisors, your department, or your faculty easily. Okay, so with the solution that you always see your supervisor as frequent as possible, I think you're able to resolve most of the problem academically that we found over here. And after that, you also have something personally or psychologically. Now, this is the one that you need to deal with yourself. Your supervisor might able or might not able to understand your situation, but bear in mind, you have to making sure that you have the capability to deal with it. Financial management, are you self-sponsored students or you're finding research grants? Or do you have been sponsored by any agency, any university when you're doing your postgraduate studies in ITS? Time management. Remember, masters and PhD, you have to complete within 2 to 4 years. You cannot have more than that. Okay. You might sometimes feel isolation because you're working your research project alone. Sometimes you have a very good relationship with your supervisor. Sometimes you might have a negative one. It is normal. And you have to keep on motivating yourself because the journey is not just a few months, but 2 to 4 years. Do you have any attitude on procrastination on writing? Lambat-lambat, okay? Delay your job. Do you have that attitude? If you have, then you have to be very careful, okay? You should not delay, defer your writing. How do you show your work progress, quantity and quality to your supervisor? Okay, your supervisor wants to see you. He or she wants to see the progress. So how do you show your progress? Do you just talk to them? Or you're showing them in a writing manners? Or are you discussing with them? Or are you able to show any graphical documentation? As a supervisor, always remember that you have to show your progress so that you are growing from there. One advice that I can give to you to show your progress is you keep on doing writing. Some of the writing can be full text, for example, full paragraphs. Some of it can be point forms. And some of it can be a graphical. So, for example, ataupun contohnya mind map or any kinds of diagrams, okay, flow charts or whatsoever. So you can show to your supervisor, okay, professors, I have done this. I'm going to do this. So can you tell me, am I on the right track? So sometimes you can ask, in order to make sure that you show your progress in a quality and quantity manner. You do have stress from time to time, because time management, financial management, isolation, relationship will put a lot of stress on you. Work-life balance. Some of you already family men, family women. Some of you already have kids or maybe you married, particularly those that in the postgraduate studies, PhD. So you might have to think, how am I going to balance up my work-life balance? Sometimes you might think, I would like to spend time. I need to take up some of my family time. And of course, your family member have to understand about you and they have to give you full support. And the last one is poor study habits. What does it mean by that? So sometimes you might want to delay the things, okay? Lambat-lambat tak apa, esok lusa, if you have this attitude. Or maybe you think that you can't remember a lot of things, you just forget about it. Sometimes you also need to know that do voice recording, okay? When you discuss with your supervisor, discuss with them, ask permission. Can I do voice recording so that I can understand? Make quick notes, buat nota dengan cepat, and after that you need to read, have the skills in order to read quickly, yeah, so that you're able to take out all these poor study habits and able to progress easily. So academically, mostly, when you see your supervisor, I think you agree with me, your supervisor will assess on academic performance, the progress, how far you have done well. Are you writing chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 accordingly? Have you done your experiment? Have you done your data collection? So many questions, mostly your supervisor will ask about academic performance. So seldom, I would not say no, I would not say all, seldom the supervisor will touch something about personal or psychologically unless you're willing to tell. But you also need to understand as a supervisor, sometimes we are not able to understand fully about your situation. So it's just like an iceberg. So what you show to people are mostly about academic performance, but what you have, you need to making sure that you are healthily, mental healthily, on your personal and also psychological. Okay, so that you're able to make sure you can perform well academically, right? So you treat your studies like a project. I would like to give you some advice so that you're able to make sure that you can get this as a life, as a researcher at the postgraduate studies. So treat your study like a project, focusing on managing the time. Always remember there are always deadlines. Waktu perlu hantar, waktu tamat, waktu perlu submit report, semua benda-benda ini merupakan timelines, the deadlines, the milestone. So one thing that I would advise you is think about doing a Gantt chart for yourself. Okay, a Gantt chart is useful when you need to monitor the time as well as the activity duration for you. You can remind me later. I have a Gantt chart at my blog. I can share with you. You can download it, and after that, you can use it. Of course, cost budgeting. So if you are sponsored by the agencies, the government, the bodies, organizations, so you might need to think about how you're going to be budgeting on your resources. But if you are a self-sponsored and then you are international students, for example, now cost definitely has to be one of the major concerns. So always think about how do you do budgeting and making sure that you are carrying on your life expenses so that you would not be bothered ataupun disusahkan ataupun rasa stres for the cost and also financial that you have during your studies. Achieve the quality, the objective and also requirement from the university. You have to be very clear about the master's and PhD requirement from the university. Now, if you have not read it, then I advise you, you have to start finding the information. Apakah kriteria-kriteria sebagai seorang pelajar sarjana? Apakah kriteria-kriteria sebagai seorang pelajar doktorat? So all of this requirement you have to read. An objective, your personal objective is the one that you need to complete your studies. What about your supervisor's objective? What about your department objective? And what about your family objectives? So the qualities here is taking into the aspect of the objective and as well as the requirement. And last one, remember, all the process are being evidenced and show proof by proper documentation. So when you want to do your activity, for example, when you want to come here for R2SEP, you need to have documentation. When you register the subject, you have the documentation. When you want to change subject, when you want to add subject, when you want to go for data collection, every documentation, even until you want to submit your thesis, go for Viva, you also have your documentation. So with these, you have to making sure that everything are properly recorded so that you will not miss the most important part about the documentation. Okay, so remember, there are a lot of challenges. You always need to be self-motivated and persistent. Yeah, memang akan ada cabarannya. The reason that I can now share with you is because I already overcome the challenges. So it is not easy for me as well when I want to study my master and my PhD. But what I can share with you right now is how I have overcome the challenges. And of course, you always need to be self-motivated. Sentiasa perlu memotivasikan diri Anda dan menjadi persistent, ya. Apa-apa cabaran, anggap itu cabaran yang biasa. Taking care of academic and also personal issues, and always think about how am I going to get it resolved. Macam mana mau menyelesaikannya. Okay, that is a very important semangat or the spirit for you to carry on. So I have a few platforms that I would like you to start building up. Ya, kalau boleh kamu take note ya, semua-semua ini merupakan platform-platform online yang sepatutnya membina semasa kamu menerusi pengajian anda di ITS ataupun di mana-mana sahaja. So contohnya WOS, Scopus, Google Scholar, ORCID, Academia dan juga ResearchGate ini, you should build it from time to time. Dan mula-mula mendaftarkan diri untuk semua platform ini. So when you have your publication, journal, articles you have already published, then after that you can upload over here and share with the academic community, ya, dengan mereka-mereka yang bersama-sama dengan anda di community academia. So after you have completed your studies, for example, some of us might want to carry out our research career. So we also have our life strategy as a researcher, you know. So people always think only academics, students need to master the research skills. Tetapi sebenarnya industrial practitioners also needs to master the research skills. So if you're working in a marketing, HR, technical, new product development, new idea generation, if you are working on the manufacturing, in the materials, all of these you need to have proper research skills. Semua memerlukan kemahiran untuk membuat penyelidikan. So some of the people looking at the research jobs at university, you know, so like us, as your docent, as your lecturer, as supervisor, we have to have these research skills because we also need to do our research by ourselves. And of course, you have research institution, university, government agencies, you have consulting firms, yeah? All those consulting firms, for example, you might have BIG groups, you might have Accentures, okay? You might have Deloitte, semua ni consulting firms, private companies, industries, and also NGOs, non-government organizations. So most of these also doing a lot of research job. NGO, for example, if you want to go and help people who are poor, so you also need to conduct the research to understand how many people, on where they are located, what are the problems that they are facing, why they cannot improve their economic status. So all of these require the research skills for you to do. I love to share with you one case that most of us might forgot. Okay, this is a case that it is truly being done, and I think I can share with you from a market research point of view. Dari sudut perspektif penyelidikan pemasaran. Example, so kamu adalah merupakan team leader untuk mobile phone app. Sekarang kita mempunyai banyak app dalam mobile phone. So selepas kamu membuat promosi, kamu ada 1,000 users, customers yang suka menggunakan free version untuk mobile app anda. Contoh mobile app anda mungkin waktu solat, okay, tempat-tempat makan, mana tempat-tempat pelancongan di Indonesia, mana-mana tempat Jakarta, tempat best dekat Surabaya, okay. So many existing customer unwilling, memang tak mahu untuk membayar for paid version. Kalau kamu charge-nya, maka mereka tak akan menggunakan dia. Tetapi company anda mahu untuk increase the customer sehingga 100,000 dalam 5 years time untuk generate income menggunakan mobile web anda. Masalah dia sekarang, apakah marketing strategy that you can use to get people to sign up for the paid version yang membayar untuk achieve the target of 100,000 customer dalam 5 years time? Macam mana kamu mau buat? So you need to conduct research, am I right? You cannot tell the customers, I want to charge you, for example, 1 juta for that. No, they will run away. Or you are thinking, you tell your manager, oh, I cannot ask the customer to pay. Then how your company want to generate business from here? How do you want to get the income from here? So you always put yourself in the dilemma that you start to know, how am I going to resolve this problem? And this problem could be answered if you do a proper market research. Okay? So quality as an industrial researcher, you must passionate about the work. If you are a consultant, if you are a lecturer, docent, if you are an NGO officers, because you have to understand researcher take times. It can be frustrating because experiment kadang-kadang often do not work. Example, if you go just now the case, you want to talk to the customers, you say to them, my company want to pay right now, so free version you cannot use anymore. What your customer will tell you? Oh, I would not want to use your apps again. You feel upset. Ataupun they do not want to talk to you. So many of us, we feel frustrated. Okay? Or maybe you have to understand that you need to do the same technique again in experiment, in seeing people, talking to the people until you get the result. Obviously, as an industrial researcher, you have to understand that you need to comply with the organizational objective. Apakah objektif utama organisasi Anda? So this is the one, the organization want to generate income. And he want to have 100,000 customers in 5 years. How do you do that? You have to think, correct? If not, the company will close because no money coming in. So that is the objective for them. So real life as a researcher, from here firstly you are solving on the real problem situation. You want to have 100,000 customer in 5 years, real problem. Okay? So what you have to do is, you have to have your idea. Okay, you yourself as a researcher, you or yourself as a consultant, you have to have an idea. You have to have the method. You also need to know how are you going to involve. Macam mana saya mau terlibat untuk solve the problem. Okay? And apa you buat? Take part in this situation. And after that, kamu conduct your studies supaya kamu boleh menghasilkan findings ataupun maklumat-maklumat, then you can solve the real world problem just now. Okay? So that is the way that you have to think as a real life researcher. I found out some of the advertisement. Okay? For example, this company, Jaringan Indonesia Positif. So they're also finding the research officer. Okay, merupakan jaringan orang dengan HIV, memenuhi hak kesihatan orang dengan HIV melalui sistem dukungan sebaya dalam kerangka HAM dan setara gender. So dia perlukan sarjana S1, S2, nilai tambah, pengalaman, metodologi, nampak, kualitatif, kuantitatif, analisa, okay, mampu mengoperasikan SPSS, Excel, survey, okay, kamu dapatkan data melalui survey, pengalaman, membuat laporan, berkomunikasi, bekerja secara mandiri dan juga dengan target dan di bawah tekanan. Do you see what I'm telling you? On the target, objective, and of course, you also need to face the pressure. And this one is this year in March 2023. Next, Ipsos in Indonesia. So they also hiring on consultant. Okay, so manager responsible for leading a small team, multiple engagement, coaches and mentor, junior team members. So you are integrate business development, memperkembangkan bisnis Anda, proposal development and project execution. So you need to leading multiple industry research, nampak, and consulting engagement independently. So they perlukan requirement 6 years experience in business consulting. Kamu perlu ada leading project team, handling consulting project. Saya buatkan circle di sini, perlu ada market research. Okay, keupayaan untuk melaksanakan market research. Next, contoh dekat Malaysia. So di sini adalah Universiti Teknologi Malaysia perlukan research officer untuk hydrologist. Okay, mereka yang mengkaji tentang bendalin ataupun apa-apa yang berkaitan dengan sungai, aliran, empangan, everything about the water. okay, hydrologist. So Disaster Preparedness and Prevention Center perlukan research officer. So responsible on the processing of hydrology data, okay, prepare various map and figures, written reports, and perform duty assigned by the supervisor. So the candidate has to have the competency, okay, bachelor degree, familiar with the software, okay, ArcGIS or QGIS, familiar with MSMA, and able to have multifunction routine tasks, good personal and communication skills, and of course have the programming capability in C language. So this is the one that they require by the people who want to go into the research officer for academia. Yeah. So what are the skills required? Have you prepared for them? So salah satunya adalah organizational skills. That you have to remain efficient, accurate. You have to have the skills of problem solving and making sure that you're able to complete the task to achieve the objective. Okay. Time management, remember, working under the schedule, working under the time frame, okay, to making sure that you meet the deadline, tarikh tutup. Data analytical skills, software diperlukan, verbal, writing, presentation skills. Pastikan you have good English command if you want to talk to the international ataupun English background people, team working sometimes. And remember, any criticism yang kamu terima ataupun anything that you have received from constructive criticism, be open mind in order to accept what you have been told. Okay, so these are the comics that I realized something quite interesting for me to share. This comes from PhD Comics. So you can see this is the one that according
Prof, you excuse me, you are on mute. I'm very sorry.
okay, right, sure.
Okay.
So I repeat, yeah. So this will be the comic that I would like to share with you about the evolution of the intellectual freedom and also represent the faces of the researchers. Okay. And what you can see, this is the comic comes from PhD Comics. I recommend you to have this comic. Sometimes it makes your life happy because you see some of the comics and then you will represent some of the stress and you can get your stress away. So before the graduate school, after you just knew you want to register for your master or PhD, most of us, we get to say, I'm going to do research whatever I want. Saya nak buat sanakan penyelidikan yang saya suka. So when you are in the process of completing your research, right now you're graduate students, I'm going to research whatever my professor wants. Yeah. So your professors ask you, okay, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do that. And we become a docent, okay? When you become newly joined in your academia, I'm going to research whatever my tenure committee wants. My boss, my dean, okay? Community that give me, continue my contract. I have to fulfill the research that what they want. When you become a tenure professor or professors, okay? I'm going to do research whatever the grant committee wants. Sometimes you have organization give you grants. So you need to design the grants according to the grant committees. You know, that is the one that you want to follow, whatever they want. And when you become emeritus professors, I'm going to research whatever he or she can do. That's the ultimate way. And of course, when you come to RIP, okay, people say rest in peace. This is a research in peace. Okay, so these will be the comic to tells you, okay, the phases of living in academia, fasa-fasa hidup dalam academia. When you say, I want to do whatever I want, this is the one wherever I want. And you know that when you come here to here to here, particularly all of you are here, like it or not, we have to do whatever your supervisor and the universities want you to do. And you balance up between what you want to do, your supervisors wants you to do, and also the universities wants you to do. Okay? So with that, thank you. And if you have Google, you can Google BCQ to have a look at my academic work. And lastly, I would like to share with you about the Gantt chart. If you need it, you can have a look. If it's not, then it's okay. So this Gantt chart I would share with you. You can get from BCQ this time, and it is Academia EDU. Okay. And when you come to Academia EDU, you will come to this page. This page is the part that I put all my publication and papers, everything here. Okay. And I'm happy to tell you that I have used this for quite some time. And, I have a lot of students who are supporting me. So I hope that the materials is useful for you. You go to research this one, 16 teaching materials. Okay. And then when you scroll down, you can have a look where we call Gantt chart or supervision. So this is the one that I ask my students to download most of the time. And I ask them to fill up, okay, accordingly. Of course, I do it as a 48 months for PhD. And for masters, you can assign accordingly. And the activity, example, I have a topic, write up chapter 1, complete chapter 1, write up chapter 2, complete chapter 2, write up chapter 3, until edit, okay, proofread. Okay, I even ask them to go for ready for Viva publication. So you can put your bar, Gantt chart bar over here. Yeah, you can put over here and try to make sure that you're capable to make it according to your target. Okay, remember the target is important. Of course, you can also add more information over here. Okay, but the thing that I try to help my students is because I want them to follow a bigger plan. Okay, so that they can do it easily. Okay, chapter 1 perlu selesai pada bulan yang ke-15, for example. Okay, chapter 2, okay, 20. So they're able to make it easy for them. And then they have a smaller plan for themselves. And after that, I ask them to take note, whatever that we agree, mereka haruslah follow for this usage. Okay, and then there are some more materials. If you think useful, you can always come back over here. And obviously, you can also making sure that these are the things that are going to be easy for you. Okay, so I have some journals and things over here. I hope that this is going to be helpful for you. Okay, so that's all from me. Thank you for listening. It's a 1 hour sharing. So if you have any question, you can ask me. I'm happy to hear from you. Thank you. Terima kasih.
Thank you very much, Prof. Chu. Well, very inspiring from Muhammad Hassan said that. Okay, so everyone, do you have any question? I believe this is very, rich information. So I'm going to invite anyone who wants to ask directly to Professor Chu.
Yeah,
any
please.
question? Let me check the chat box first.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe I want to make a question, Miss.
Oh, Mr. Jeki Tambun, please. I'm gonna add spotlight you.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. BCSU, for the material that you sharing for us. And in this moment, I just make a warming up question. Maybe I want to ask how to have a good self-motivation and be persistent, because I think this is the hard thing to do. Maybe you can share it. Thank you.
Okay, so how do you keep yourself motivated? I understand. There's a lot of challenges and things. I will do 2 things. I can share with you. The first, very simple, very simple. I always, when I was studying that time, people will always think that, oh, you come from Edinburgh, yeah, but they've forgotten one thing. I need to overcome the culture, because when you're studying away from the country like Malaysia, we have a lot of culture differences. So that time it was not easy for myself. So one motivation that I did for myself is I go and a very funny one. I mean, I'll share with you. Example, I go and have a photo. Okay. So last time I did myself is I used this photo. Okay. But I cut the face out. I put my face inside. And of course, I put myself the name, okay, doctor, something. Graduated in, okay, I tell myself cannot be too long. So let's say like 2023 now, I have to graduate 2025, for example, or 2026. And after that, I'll put on the wall for myself. Yeah, I put things on the wall. So I keep motivating myself. Okay, this is the one that I want to be, this is the PhD. So that time when I was studying before, so we have that time when I was in Edinburgh that time, this is the graduation hall, ini tempat graduasi. Okay, so after that, take the pictures and then tell yourself, I want to be there in 2015, in 2020, 2025 or 2026, the first one. So you put more pictures and then you tell yourself, I want to be there. So that's the way that you visualize, and you're able to making sure that one day you'll be somehow appear in the place for the graduation. Do you see the graduation here? So I'll tell myself, I put myself, I print out the photos, then I'm the one who'll be here. So I keep motivating myself like this. Okay, the first way. Second way is I request a handwriting notes. Handwriting notes. Okay, these handwriting notes, I can request from my supervisor, or I can request from my orang yang dikasihi, my parents, my wife, or if you have your parents, your wife, your anak-anak, your son, your daughter, your supervisor, yeah, ask them to write something. Okay, so for example, if you have your kids, dear papa, dear mama, okay, something like that. Or you might have your parents. Okay, for example, he call your name, dear Ahmad, dear Siti. Okay, so all these ayat-ayat, this one I write, and I put also in a frame nicely. I put on the wall. So when I got challenges, I always look back, whatever my parents, my loved one, my son, my daughter, my wife, whoever that you think, even your best friend, that write to you, So they will give you some motivation, then you keep it, then it becomes something will guide you through the entire process. So that would be the two ways that I do. First one is visualize with the pictures, okay? And then the second one, I visualize, the first one is visualize the photos, picture. The second one is the writing. And then you put on there. And when you graduated, you feel that, these all are the beautiful memory that you have. I hope it helps, yeah? Because people who care about us, when they give us motivation, it really, really helps us to get rid all of the stress, and the love that they give us is enormous. Banyak kasih sayang, kata-kata mereka. Particularly that time when I was away, jauh daripada Malaysia waktu itu, and study alone, okay? And then you need to overcome a lot of things. So that is the motivation yang dapat membina untuk diri kita. I hope that my experience will be helpful for you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Prof. Chu. I think in Gen Z language, it is called manifesting. Do you know that concept? Yeah. So I believe there are also many students from S2, magister students here, master students here. They call it manifesting, Prof. So I also did that during my study, and I put pictures just to remind me that that's my dream, so I have to reach it. Thank you very much. I think we can go to the second question. It is Mr. Muhammad Ardani.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Time is yours.
Thank you for the opportunity. Hello, Prof. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Ardani. I'm management of technology student. Currently, I'm working in Riau, close to Malaysia, Prof.
Okay, right.
So I want to ask about tips and tricks for time management between working and time for writing a thesis. Because sometimes we are working for 24 hours into 7, means unscheduled jobs sometimes come and so difficult to managing the time. Please, Prof. Thank you.
Okay, so when you have to work, I understand because some of the students here, they might need to work to support their studies, or maybe they have family and also something. Now, one thing that I have to let you know is I also have, for your information, most of my, let me share with you, so that you can understand where my information comes from. I have after some time, I have most of my students graduated, and they are mostly from S3. Because previously I have a lot of students who graduated from masters. Masters are quite short. Some of them, they just completed within 1.5 years to 2 years. So they are very quick. Also right now I have students mostly about doctorate. So the PhD particularly. So when we have the PhD students, then you can see I have, this is my experience I want to share with you. I have South African students. I have students from China. Yeah, I have students from China. I also have Malaysian students, okay? Previously, I have Malaysian students, obviously. And of course, I also have Arabic students, okay? And I also have students who are from previously the experience, who are from Jordan. So he's the one. So you can see the name, then you know they are different names, means that they are from different nationalities. When I supervise them, particularly I also learn to supervise the doctorate students. One of the key things that I must let you know is you must make sure that you are very clear. Kamu perlu tahu instruction ataupun apa-apa sahaja tipsnya, notes, for you to take notes. You have to make sure that you are very clear with the instruction. Okay, so I'll tell my students, jangan sekali-kali kamu angguk-angguk, kalau kamu tidak faham. Jangan sebab kamu angguk-angguk untuk gembirakan saya. Kamu perlu angguk bila kamu 100% faham. That is the key things that I want him or her to understand. Because if you do not understand, and then you angguk-angguk, the supervisor will think that, okay, you already understand what you have done. So remember, very clear on the instruction. And then you also need to know how or what do you want to do next. That is important. Because sometimes after you talk, after you discuss, after your supervisor tells you a lot of things, if you do not know what you want to do next, you will go back, then after that you will think again. Apa yang tadi kami bicara tadi itu, tidak tahu macam mana nak gerak kepada stage-stage yang seterusnya. So what you should do is always ask your supervisor, what do I need to do next? What can I do? What should I do? And this is actually trying to making sure you save time. Sebab kalau tidak, if you believe in me, repetitive correction, okay, rework, okay, buat semula, buat correction semula, ataupun you have to semua perkataan yang lah, I can tell you very easily, it all will start to waste time. And more waste time, you feel frustrated. Okay, so what I would like to tell you is, remember, very clear with the instruction, very clear with the information, make notes, remember, buat nota, so that you are not just walking out without understanding what has been discussed. You boleh buat nota on paper, okay, ataupun you make sure that voice recording, okay, so that you can listen back again and again. Because you have to understand, sometimes the supervisor have so many students to take care, okay? And then we can't remember everything we tell you. So very clear with the instruction, make notes, okay? Buat nota, apa perlu laksanakan, apa yang perlu saya ambil perhatian, dan apa yang perlu saya buat. Okay? That is very important. Dan when I should submit, ataupun come back to you. So ini adalah masa. We are talking about time. And if you ask these three things, then you are knowing that what would be your objective. Okay? Because your objective is you have to remain efficient. Perlu efficient, tak boleh buang masa ya. Kamu tak boleh putar-putar, buang masa, tak faham, and then after that a lot of things again. So you save time, you do not need to do a lot of correction, you do not need to rework, you do not need to waste time, you do not feel frustrated, then you're able to control your time easily. Okay? And then you have to also understand sometimes, if you believe in me, because I'm also a researcher, actually it's not the quantity matters. Instead, it is the quality matters. Why I say that? Okay, many students ask me, sir, how many hours that I need to sit on a table in order to write a chapter? I say, I do not know. Saya tak tahu. Because everything based on your style and also your situation. Sometimes, you know, after the family member is sleeping, we are very, very efficient. Waktu tu adalah waktu malam. Ui, we can do a lot of things. 10 o'clock until 12 o'clock. 2 hours, we can write a lot of things. Now, that is the time that very efficient for us. If you realize that you sit in front of a computer from 8 o'clock morning until 10 o'clock at night, you still cannot work. So the quantity does not matter. Because it is not about how much time that you spend. It's about how much quality that you have produced. Faham? Berapa banyakkah quality materials yang kamu boleh produce? So that's why find your time. Time itu sangat penting. Bilakah kamu akan dapat golden time, orang kata, yang paling efektif? Some people might be midnight, some people might be 10 o'clock, some people might be early morning. Itu waktu-waktunya yang sepatutnya kamu gunakan. Okay, remember, saya selalu tekankan, jangan kita ada repetitive ini, maka kamu akan menjimat banyak masa, kamu tidak akan rasa frustrated. Ya, okay, itu jawapan daripada saya.
Thank you, Prof.
Sama, membantu ya, harap membantu. Okay.
Thank you very much, Prof. Chu. I think we got, wait a minute. Firmansyah. Hello, Mr. Firmansyah.
Hello, Miss.
Time is yours.
Hello.
Hello, Professor. I want to know your opinion about character researcher. I think I am a pragmatic people. I want to know your opinion. Is it good be pragmatic when we do research?
Okay, so the characteristic of a researcher. I think not much about the characteristic will influence. Tapi ada tapinya. I would say that if possible is your characteristic that you need to make sure that it drives with your field of studies, okay? So, and then of course, it's also need to be working very closely with your supervisor, yeah? Because some of the field of studies, for example, experiment, yeah? Kita perlu very observant, betul? Very teliti, very observant. Kalau you go for management study, you need to be very what do you call very positivism. You have to making sure that you remain yourself neutral, understanding what are the things that giving to you, or maybe you are constructivism. You need to always think what are the meaning and things. So it always relate with the field of your studies, okay? No matter what situation we are. And I would say that also start to think, are you able to work closely with your supervisor? That's the ultimate things. So if you can, then I would say that your research and your study will become easier. So if not, okay, for example, you are pragmatist, I'm social constructivist. So maybe we are not so gel together in terms of thinking, but we also need to discuss our objective is what? Making sure that your study is complete within time and graduate on time. Does it make sense? So not to worry about the characteristic, but you would realize that the characteristic will influence on the field of studies and also how are you going to work closely with your supervisor. Making sure everything, no matter what, no matter how, you complete and graduate on time. That's very important.
Okay, excellent words. Thank you,
Thank
Prof.
you. Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Chu. Now I'm gonna invite Miss Dia Ramawati.
Okay.
Hello, Miss Dia Ramawati.
Yes, hello. Thank you for this opportunity. It's okay. I want to ask to Professor Chu. So, when I was studied at undergraduate, it's been third or fourth years ago. I always upload my assignment at Academy Edu, and I don't know that it is have a good impact after 4 years ago. And now I think about how when we upload our result of research, is this need a validation from our lecture or from some person that has some person that has relate in this field. Yeah, okay. Is we need a permit from someone to upload our results?
Enough.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think your question would be if you want to write a paper, is it, or you want to upload the paper? Which one? Do you want to write a paper or you want to upload a paper? Which one?
Maybe repeat, Mr.
Your question is about upload a paper in social media platform like academia,
Yes.
or you want to, okay.
Yes.
So has the paper published? My first question, has the paper published?
At first is at academia. If we upload at academia, maybe we don't need a validation from others. But if we want to upload at Journal International, we need to validation from our lecture or other or not. Yes.
I get what you mean. Okay, so there are two ways. So first one is your own notes. I don't call it as publication yet because this is the one that you have written. For example, if you are thinking you want to give, some feedback, okay, some comments, yeah. These are the one that you would like to make sure that you have written, and then you want to publish. Okay, so when you publish this one, this is merely something that your opinion, your feedback, your comments. So you can put it on this academia or any kind of social media. No problem about that. Okay. But you have to also take note. If let's say like you already have an article, your published work. So for example that, sometimes that we look at academia, maybe I'll share with you. This would be something that you already published. And the thing is, we are requesting the publisher, okay, for example, in order to give us the permission that we would like to put into our own social media so that we can invite more citation, as well as we can also making sure that this going to give more sharing and also knowledge dissemination, perkongsian ilmu kepada outsiders. So if you have this situation, then you can able to write to the editors, and after that you can actually get his permission, get the published version like what I have here, and after that you can upload in your academia. So there are two ways. The first one is whether you have your own notes, your feedback, your comment, you publish in social media, or your published work, you get your permission from the editor, then after that you can publish on the social media. Okay. Remember, if let's say like you would like to have your editors permission, then after that you can ask your co-authors. Okay. Barang siapa yang terlibat dalam your author sheet, for example, your supervisors, your colleagues, ya. Macam contohnya, okay, saya tak perlu tanya mereka sebab mereka memang suka, paper-paper ni kalau boleh publish sebanyak mana tempat-tempat ataupun tonjolkan di mana-mana media platform yang boleh dicapai. So sometimes if in your situation you might be need to ask your co-authors, ataupun if your co-authors agree with it, then you should not have any much problem. You can always just publish it somewhere. Okay, some people they put on Facebook, not a problem. Some people they put on other relevance platform. So what I would like to say is to make sure that you're able to get something in return. Most of the time, Scopus, these WOS, Google Scholar, R2SEP, and ResearchGate, these are those that the paper that you already been accepted in publication. So mereka sudah merupakan paper-paper artikel yang sudah dipublish. Kamu hanya letakkan di semula dalam platform-platform sedemikian. Okay, Academia EDU kamu boleh gunakan untuk yang tidak perlu publish dalam publisher, ataupun kamu sudah ada artikel yang sudah publish. I hope that I help you for the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Prof. Chu. And also to Ms. Dia, thank you. I'd like to invite Mr. Alif Aditya Wicaksono.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
I've been having network problem for the last for the last 15 minutes. I have the connection isn't great for me, so I'm sorry if my sound sounds intermittent. So I have a few questions here. First of all, thank you for your presentation earlier. It was very lovely. My question is somewhat related from Mrs. Dia's question, actually. It's about publication. I'm a graduate student. My normal research is in time series, my main primary research in time series analysis, essentially. Should we say time series analysis? I have a few papers being written about it. I have 1 or 2 papers already being published, etc. But myself, my own personal hobby is actually coding, and I have want to say, what's called? I've done research, personal research, not any official kind, on the operating system, on something that is rarely publicized. That is operating system level, what is called again, task management. Basically, how the operating system translates tasks, how a computer could do multiple tasks at once, kind of deal. And I've been working on it, and I've been thinking of maybe I should try this as a paper, but personally, I don't have that. What is guts? Not the guts. Confidence. I don't have confidence because I've never written a paper on this this topic before. This is very out of field, and none of my professors near here is also that, that specific research on time series, on time sharing operating system kind of deal. This is mostly just my own hobby, but I read around and there's no paper on the specific implementation that I'm working with, kind of deal. So how do I do this? Like, if I wanted to share my research with the world, but what's the word here? Sharing is not. How do I approach this problem? Like, how do I approach this publication? Like, where should I start? Like, if nobody around me knows.
You mean you would have the idea, but you would like to share with the
I already done the research. I already done
public
the
community, the academic community. But do you have any things written that you already published or not yet?
I already have stuff published, but not on this field. I have published on a different field. Most of my publishment are in statistical machine learning, statistical stuff, machine learning, time series using optimization kind of deal, not in something like operating systems or even kernel, stuff like that. I don't have.
But do they have all of this material being accepted in a journal and published in a journal? Yes or no?
Not in this specific, on a different journal. I see a different journal that actually accepted, but I don't know who should I ask first. Like, should I just directly publish it, or should I ask around if any professors or any teachers that actually have any experience with this first? Like, what are my steps here? Should I ask around first, pass my paper around maybe for a few months, get their input, and then pass it to the publication, or should I just ask the publication what's wrong with my paper kind of during the
Okay, I think I try to digest the information that you gave to me. I assume that right now you have written a paper, right?
Yeah.
And then with this paper, you plan, you ask me the question whether should you request the review from any of the professors that you might recognize, or you would like to send directly to the journal. Is it like that?
Yeah, but this is on something that none of my professors really have any experience with, kind of deal. So nobody around me have experience with it.
Well,
So,
if let's say like you have your professors or your supervisors who are well versed with your field of studies, then definitely the paper could get his or her comments, and these would make the paper solid. Because sometimes when we write our paper, we always have this tunnel view. Or people say that, you know, penglihatan kita memang kita terlalu fokus, kita terlupa ataupun kita mungkin akan mengabaikan apa-apa yang berlaku di sekitarnya. So if you have someone that in your field, then good that you can always get his or her opinion, invite him or her as your co-author in order to make sure the paper are become better, or the paper is become better. If it's not, then you can, if it's not, ada background noise kejap.
Yeah, that background noise,
Yeah. So if let's say
continue.
like, if it's not, then you can just direct send to the journal, because the journal will go through what we call as a peer review process.
Yeah.
And this peer review process, most of the time they will assign those people who are within the field of your studies, and they will start to conduct the review process. And after that, they will tell you whether it is good to go, or they might need to do any correction. So I think if you have anyone that will be helpful, go for the first one, okay? If it's not, then you can send to the journal directly, because you definitely will get some feedback. And then after that, it will help you for the paper for the next process. Yeah, if I can have answered your question.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, so
Thank you.
that's basically the gist of my question, because I've never published in this specific field before. I've published on other fields, but not on this specific subset of it. So yeah, okay.
Okay, right.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much to you. Wait a minute. Remove spotlight. Prof. Chu, I also got some questions from the Q&A link. Well, I think it's about finding ideas and novelty. So some questions are: how to create sustainable and useful research for society? Do you think that the person who has master degree has to give impact to their nation, such as create a new job? And then, is every research should be based on literature studies? How is the quick method in finding a gap in a research and a quick way to find research ideas that have the potential to develop in the long term? So I think it's about finding ideas and novelty for their research. What do you think?
Yeah. It's very condensed with the questions, but a lot of points has been taken. Okay, contribute to the society. I think it really depends. It really depends, because you have to also understand that it has to be designed from the problem statement that you would like to set. So if let's say like your problem statement, you really want to look at the societal problem, then definitely you have to contribute to society. Am I right? So if let's say like you're not looking from the society, you like to contribute to the industry, or you might want to contribute to the organization. So I think it really depends on the types of the problem statement that you would like to formulate. So the beauty of the research is, remember, it can be enlarged for the ripple effect. So example, if let's say like you're thinking that you want to resolve the problem of poor people, okay? Poor people in X area, for example. Then after that, with these findings that you have resolved, then you can start to think, okay, apart from X area, I can think about Y, Z area as well. So these would be the contribution. So my point is, either is contribute to the society, industry, organization. All of these will depend on the types of the problem statement or the problem or the research problem that you have designed. So you should not be too worried about you know it, but instead look back at how are you going to design your problem. Some people might want to just go for organization, for example, helping the university. Okay, some people want to look at, okay, I want to help the food industry. Okay, some people would say I want to go for the community or society. It really depends on what you have done. Okay, so that would be the first one. Second one is literature studies. In our school of thought, this one would be from the UK school of thought. I have to stress, because there are so many school of thoughts that start to look at the literature studies. We believe that academic research, okay, academic research, it has to be depart from the theoretical studies ataupun theoretical foundation, and then of the theoretical concept, or what do you think about the keywords that you would like to use. So in such a case, the academic research depart from theoretical stand, foundation, and concept. This is the one that by the end of the day, we need to know the nature is because this is an academic research. Okay, it is not a research that without any theoretical ground. So in such a case, academic research, by the end of the day, they can contribute to the new theoretical ataupun knowledge development. Does it make sense? So in such a case, from our school of thought, literature studies should be helpful, because literature not only about, mostly about the theory. Literature also help you to clarify about the method, also clarify about how do you analyze your data. Okay, you also can learn the example. Okay, example right now they're looking at Kalimantan. Right now you want to look at this case in Surabaya, for example. So you can learn the example and then see how it works. Okay, what are the gaps? Gap mostly will appear in two forms. The first one is theoretical form. Theoretical. Another gap is empirical form. Okay, so when you have theoretical form, this is where that you realize, okay, the theory said so and so, but the theory is old. Right now, it already have a gap. Last time they said it is about the information, so they are not taking into consideration like ICT. So right now, example, okay, ICT, social media 2.0, okay, has started to make sense. So that is where that the theoretical starts to give you the gap. Boleh? Jadi mempunyai satu loop ataupun satu gap yang wujud for you to understand things changes because of the evolvement of the technology and society. Empirical, IR 4.0, okay, 5G. So these are the ones that also start helping you to understand the empirical. So right now, if you're looking at the factory, the manufacturing, I think students from industrial engineering, you'll believe in me. So right now, when you're looking at IR 4.0, 5G, or even people talking about IR 5.0, okay, the latest one, you start to realize that there's always a gap. How do you utilize this gap in order to look at the national industries? So itulah dia. Research ideas, this one is a huge one, tapi I can make the key things for you is go for research idea that you're interested and you're passionate. Of course, about the research idea can be one chapter. If you're interested, let me share with you. Saya ada satu chapters. So you go back to the academia. I have this one. Formulating and clarifying the research topic. So over here, I have this 2017 chapter that start to tell you how are you to come up with the idea. Okay, the research idea, how do you come up with, and so on, so on. I think another series of thought will also address about the research idea. But one thing that I want to highlight over here for you is making sure that you're interested at that and you're truly passionate. Kamu memang sangat suka. Reason? Sebab your S2 dan juga S3 takes you 2 years or 3 years to do. You cannot tell your supervisor, Okay, last year saya suka, hari ni this year saya sudah tak suka. Then you are keep on changing your research idea. So taking it into consideration those yang kamu passionate, those yang kamu interested, that can carry on for longer time would be the good suggestion for you to have that idea. I hope that I have helped you and answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Chu. I would like to ask for the committee. Committee, can we have another 2 minutes for one more question? If that's so, I'm going to ask one more question. Would
Yes,
that be okay,
please.
Professor Chu from Ms. Laila Ma'rofa?
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Nastiti, and thank you for Professor Chu for the insightful presentation. So I want to ask about the research in limited time, right? So as we know, starting research start with a problem, but sometimes we already have a problem and we feel that the problem is also important and has a big impact. But sometimes too, the solution is not in our area or our expertise, right? So we must takes a long time for us to learn. While on the other hand, we are also have a limited time. But if we start from our expertise, sometimes no problem can be solved, right? So yeah, maybe I want to ask from Professor Chu for the solution for this case. Maybe. Yeah.
Okay, understood. Right. So when you look at problem, right, one thing that we have to understand is we cannot, how am I putting it this way? We really cannot solve all the problem. That's a reality. Realitinya, kita tidak boleh selesaikan semua problem. The fundamental reason is because our research has a limitation. What is the limitation? Time. Okay. So time will be the biggest limitation for us. So we can't solve all problem at once. So that's why in doing research, the beauty of doing research is because you can design it. Itu adalah dia punya nilai. You can design the research by your own, okay? And of course, when you design it, you can design on what specific problem that you want to look at. Okay? So with that, then you are focusing on a particular problem that you're able to manage. A complicated problem takes up time. Kita kena ingat. Bukannya tak bagus, dia akan membawakan masa yang terlalu banyak. And then while your S1, your S2 and S3 needs to have time limitation for that. So a specific problem that you want to look at and you're able to manage. Of course, sometimes you might tell me, okay, sir, in such a case, how am I going to make sure that the problem can be resolved? No. Actually, it is very focused that you are looking at specific problem and you provide with specific solution. Example, okay, let's look back at COVID. Now, COVID involved a lot of problems. It has medical problem, it has bioengineering problem, right? It has the economy problem. It has social problem, am I right? Unemployment, it also causing social disparity. It has also social psychological problem. Okay, so there are so many problems that you realize. And what you should do right now is, how am I going to look at what problem that I would like to specifically resolve? Because if you are thinking that I want to resolve everything, then remember the time would not agree you to do so. So if you are from that discipline, actually your discipline will map on what you want to do. Okay? Discipline Anda, the field of your study. Okay? So example, kalau Anda merupakan pelajar daripada bioengineering, then you will only focus on bioengineering problem. Example, what are the consequences? What are the different types of effectiveness of the vaccine? Is it utilizing the NRA, or you're utilizing the virus itself? Which one? Okay, then you can look at that problem. Then after that, the society social problem will come in. Oh, I found out that time social distancing. no communication. People start for isolation psychologically. So you see, then people start to look at that problem. So I would say that, remember, you can't solve everything at one research. You only can contribute. That's where that you have so many disciplines, so many scientists that comes in, and after that they are topping up the understanding so that we can look at different research providing different spectrum, and then with this different spectrum we're able to understand the situation more. Remember, it is not big that counts. It's about how deep and how comprehensive your focus area, okay, is the one that matters. Does it make sense? So bukannya terlalu besar sehingga nak menyelesaikan perkara-perkara yang complicated, tetapi deep, comprehensive untuk specific focus area yang kamu sudah pilih itu untuk teruskan dalam research Anda. Okay, I hope that I've answered your question.
Yeah. So for the conclusion is simplify the problem so we can simplify the solution, right?
I would not say simplify. I would say that focus. Because the problem cannot be simplified. If the problem be simplified, the solution is very easy. Then you do not need to do research. You know, so it has to be focused. Bukannya masalah ni dan kita ambil ini. So contoh, I have a problem about headache. Okay, you eat Panadol. Okay, solution Panadol. No, that's not the design for the research. It has to be something more interesting to be digging out. So I would not say simple. I would rather say focus. Okay, so you can ponder these keywords and have a discussion with your supervisor. I think he or she can help you to identify the problem easier. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, and I'm very much sorry for Helmi Wijaya because we ran out of time. So, well, Prof. Chu, thank you very much from me personally for the very insightful and rich session, and it is very nice to meet you again. For everyone, thank you for joining R2SEP, R2SEP till the end of the time. So I'm going to give back the virtual microphone to the MC. Ms. Devi, time is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Nasiti and Dr. Chu. So what do you think of the questions from?
I think I have some of the very good quality questions. And I also realize some of the students here, they say, don't ask question anymore because it's a praying time. And so I understand. You know, because the questions are very useful, then, you know, I took up some extra time for you, but I hope that, you know, because able to do some sharing with all of you, and then I might see you again or might not, but I hope that, you know, today at least some of the information has been shared and you're able to get some information from me. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, is there any contact that if students want to ask you or ask your experience or guidance, Dr. Chu?
I think can email to me. Let me see what I can do. You know, you can Google my my email when you Google BC Chu at Google. Then you'll find my email. Then after that, you can write to me. Let's see how I can come up with the answer that I can, and hopefully I'll see you somewhere, sometime on any other slots that might be. And yeah, I wish you all the best.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Chu, for the insight. And very useful for us as new students in. And I think the doctorate have the experiences already, but still, this is like insightful sharing session this afternoon. Yeah, for this one, we would like to give you the certificate of appreciation. Please give applause.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this.
Yes. We will send it the certificate to you, Professor.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
And also for our moderator today, Ms. Nastiti.
Thank you, Ms. Nastiti.
You're welcome, Prof. Thank you very much to the committee as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
And Miss Gigi as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope to see you soon again.
Yeah. Hopefully.
In other event. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, before we leave, could we have like a photo session together, because this is important event, the first event of this semester.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 1, 2, 3. It's nice to see. Okay, I guess. Okay, I guess the committee has taken some pictures. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Okay, I would like to also remind you, for the participant, the feedback form are in the chat. You can fill out the form. And also, we still have 9 more sessions with 4 more compulsory session, but you can have more session if you like more than 5, like in a poster. And all the updates of the session will be announced in through your email. Please check your register email. We will announce it a week prior to the event. Okay. Okay. Thank you everyone for this first event of this semester. I hope to see you again in the next event of research and researcher enrichment program. Thank you very much. Good afternoon all.
Thank you. Take care. Bye
Good
bye.
afternoon.
Good
Thank you very
afternoon.
much.
Very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you.
Very
Adi-
much.
Adi-
See you in Malacca,
Terima kasih, Prof.
See you then.
Thank
Kasih.
you.
Thank you, Prof. Matur tampiasi, Prof.
Thank you.
Selamat maju
Thank you,
saya.
Prof.
Good insight.
See you again.
Terima kasih.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Terima kasih, Prof. Link feedback enggak?
Take care semua ya.
Thank you, Cik.
Thank you,
Miss
Very much welcome.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, Prof. Chu.
Bye bye. Thank you.
So the committee, please end the session in 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.